Rolling. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy 2025.
Into 2025.
So, welcome to the Livingboldlee podcast.
The Livingboldlee podcast, yeah, with Amy and Chase.
Hello. So, we've been talking about the potential of starting a podcast for quite a while now. Been told by a few different friends and mentors that they think people would like what we have to say, and
It would be watched.
yeah, so we figured why not.
We think we have a unique path on monetary living, or not monetary living.
Living while monetizing different avenues, I guess.
The way we make money to live,
Yeah.
I guess, is what we're saying. It's definitely not your conventional way, for your normal job or career building. It's worked well for us so far.
Currently, we are in our trailer living in Tofino for the winter, which has been a goal of ours for quite a few years.
5 years,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, so we made it happen this year while our house is rented out on Airbnb back where we're from in Enderby, BC. And yeah, we just want to kind of give you a bit of a background on that stuff and what we're about.
Yeah. The ocean is a big part of us both. We really love the ocean, and that's part of being Tofino. Surfing is a part of that as well. So yeah, going into 2025, we're kind of in an in-between, I guess you could say, in our lives as far as career paths go and what we're going to do for money. I'm considering going back into construction on my own. So I'll be starting a company, doing some renovation work, getting back into real estate. Amy and I have made money through real estate. We both really enjoy that. We got a good skill set between both of us to succeed. So yeah, 2025 I've actually invested in a real estate investing masterclass. So that's where I'm at right now.
Working through it. It's been nice. Tofino has kind of been a time to reflect and, plan for what is coming in the future. So that course that Chase has been doing takes up a lot of time. And then for now, I have stepped away from teaching. So back in Enderby, I was teaching on call, which really worked well for all of the projects that we had on the go. And now just trying to kind of find, areas that fuel my passion as well. I do really like working together as a team, and I'm really, I guess, good at all of the admin tasks, so all the organizational
Tech.
tech,
You get good at tech.
emailing, setting up things. That is something that comes easy to me because I've done it for quite a long time. But just trying to figure out how to find that balance that we talk about of
Work life.
and doing stuff that we're passionate about that interests us, instead of getting into projects that just really wear us out and make us want to step away from it. So trying to find the ones that really call to us instead of
Let's go into our individual backgrounds a little bit.
Go for it. Okay.
So for me, I got a journeyman welding ticket. I've done construction, residential carpentry, on and off since I was in high school. Carpentry was actually my first sort of choice for a trade ticket, but I had friends that were making good money in welding, and that sparked an interest. So I went into that field, got ticketed, and did a bunch of different industrial construction projects. Eventually got led into rope access, so welding high up in the air on ropes, which is a really cool experience. And then the whole time I was kind of still going back and forth with carpentry work. Me and Amy built our own home now, which we now short-term rental. That just launched actually this year, so it's super exciting, super scary, I guess, at the same time.
Blackbird Retreat. Go check it
Blackbird Retreat, yeah. Which also brings us to Tofino. It's warmer here in Canada.
Yes.
So yeah, and then a bit about your background, Amy.
Yeah, so when Chase and I met, I was in university still doing my kinesiology degree, and I had kind of just gone through a big life path change, essentially. Was in a bad car accident, so had stepped away from classes for a while due to a concussion and some injuries, and then had a professor recommend the teaching program, so doing my Bachelor of Education after I finished my kin degree, and that's kind of where I started when we first got together, was still in the whole flux of university life and classes all the time and work in between.
Late nights
yeah.
at the restaurant or the bar.
Yeah, bartending and serving, all while keeping up with schoolwork. So I was able to juggle that while also buying our first house in Kelowna together, renovating it, and doing trips in between. So we always have had like a jam-packed lifestyle for sure.
Yeah, and when Amy says renovating, like, we did the renovations
Yes.
ourselves. We, we were hands-on. Her and I, till midnight, 1 a.m. sometimes. Got complaints from the neighbors.
Learning how to tile for the first time. Doing every little thing, I guess. Leveling floors, doing
everything. Yeah.
everything.
We house hacked that house. If anybody follows real estate investing on social media, or somebody like Brandon Turner, he termed that house hacking, where you live in a portion of the house and then you rent some of it out. So we rented out our suite, and then we rented out a bedroom in our living space
to another university student, which was really cool.
Yeah, that worked really well for us.
Yeah.
That's kind of was our first taste of it, and then we actually started to short-term rental or Airbnb that place when we would go away
on trips for the weekend.
And that opened up the real estate investing world, and how you can leverage a home if you're comfortable doing that. Not everybody is.
No, so many people thought we were crazy and couldn't believe that we would let random people in our house, and it definitely was uncomfortable at first. Like, you felt you're tied to silly material things, and it's like, what's the worst thing that can happen is somebody breaks it. And it's like, if you left something that was a timeless, like, memorial piece, like, that's on you. So we just cleared our stuff out. Our house, honestly, even now, people in our family are like, you have no pictures up, and it's like, the house isn't really where we keep all of our memories and everything like that. It's something we use as a tool to kind of get other experiences that we want. So
we like to wander and travel and experience other places, and that is a way to sort of fund that lifestyle for us, as well as work. We both still, have jobs or have jobs here and there. Like, I take a lot of different projects nowadays, so I'm not necessarily with one company for a long period of time. Never really ever have been for myself.
Okay, so going back, because I didn't really finish where so I did end up finishing my education degree, became a teacher, worked in Kelowna for 3 years as a full-time teacher, and it was a grind. It definitely changed our way of living, I would say, because Chase was still on projects, so he would go away to work
out of town.
Out of town for a couple weeks or a month sometimes. I'd be working full-time, which ended up being like 80 hours a week sometimes, just with marking, preparing for classes.
Well, and you coached after school sports and stuff.
Teachers will know. I did enjoy it. It was fulfilling, but up until a certain point that I realized how quickly a burnout can happen, and obviously then when Chase would be home, I didn't get to take any time off. I would still be working full time. So we did manage to still take some good trips because I had some holidays, obviously, when, you know, it's March break, all those classic teacher holidays. But aside from that, yeah, we definitely just grinded and tried to make money in as many different ways as possible, like we said. And then I guess after the three or 4 years in Kelowna, living there in our house, we started entertaining the idea of moving elsewhere.
I wanted to bring you to I wanted to move back to Enderby. Amy was very skeptical of Enderby at the time.
Enderby's a very small town.
In comparison to Kelowna, for sure, yeah. All your family and your friends.
Everybody was close by. But it was starting to dissipate. Like, family was starting to move out of the area, things like that. So then, became open to the idea of entertaining other places, and we started kind of looking, I think, in Enderby, but we couldn't really find anything that suited what we wanted.
No. And eventually ended up moving to Enderby, but
we built.
We built.
Yeah, we bought a lot.
We bought and built a home with a contractor. Kept that home for a year. That had a suite in it.
We did keep the Kelowna place. Rented that out while we were transitioning to Enderby too.
So, I mean, you could say we were in a really good position at that point as far as real estate goes, but I think what we lacked there was experience and knowledge of managing properties and tenants.
Absolutely.
Because we had no idea. We were just kind of, that was our first time, and then we had these 2 properties, which was really good, but it also came with a lot of stress for us.
I was driving back and forth to Kelowna probably weekly, I'd say, with the tenant that we ended up with.
Yeah.
Just sometimes you don't get the greatest tenants, and we had not, fortunately, hadn't experienced that, but also then had no knowledge of what can happen.
Or, I didn't have the tools to deal with the stress, I guess, and that type of thing, Anyway, I guess
it was a learning experience, which was great. Yeah.
Sorry, babe.
No, it's okay. And we ended up just saying it might be better off to sell that Kelowna place because it was a bit too much for us at the time. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to the story on that side of things, and I think we can definitely explain that as we go along with podcasts, but kind of we just wanted to explain where we would like to go with the podcast, why we're really wanting to do the podcast and create content.
Yeah.
I think is so that we can shine light on things that we struggle with in life and what we want to do and what we want to learn, and hopefully along the way we can help other people that may have similar interests or.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people can relate to a lot of the same struggles, if you will, or just
finding a path that works and that you want to stick to. And we definitely are both multi-passionate people who have a hard time just doing one thing over and over, so we're looking for a variety.
And a lot of people are curious. We get questions all the time, how are you guys able to do that, or how are you guys doing this, and so I think why not just share how we're doing it and how it works. And a lot of people might think we're crazy. Myself, for instance, my family jokes that I should have an auction because I'll buy something, let's say a vehicle, and I might only keep that vehicle for 4 or 6 months, maybe less, maybe more sometimes. I think the truck we currently own is the longest I've ever owned a vehicle. So there's that, and like I said, a lot of people might think we're crazy, and I think everybody is a little bit crazy in their own way. But we want to focus on the things that we really enjoy, and that's food, culture, real estate, the outdoors, adventure sports. Amy, the spirituality thing.
Spirituality, astrology, been really into that lately, and all that, emotional healing. yeah, I just feel like in our lives we have so much to work on and work towards that there's nothing wrong with continuing to try new things. Even the camper or the trailer that we're sitting in now, only how long ago? A couple weeks ago, was a truck camper that we originally came down here with.
It was like a week ago.
Yeah, so we upgraded to this unit, which has been very nice. Tofino, and its climate and the rain makes it difficult to live in a tight space. So yeah,
we were able to pivot there and make that stuff happen. It's good though. Like it is good. Works for us. It's not going to work for everybody. Some people might be like, I want to do that too, or take tidbits of what we do, and we could share information on how we do it and how it works for us. Also, like with social media, and I think we all know this, and maybe, or at least, but subconsciously we might not, like we all share our highlights on social media, including us. Like, I think a lot of people are guilty for that. It's like somebody could go on my page or Amy's page or most people's page, and it's like, wow, what an amazing life. And not to say we're not living amazing lives.
Absolutely,
but we definitely have our struggles and our mishaps and our fights,
and our moments of like, what the hell are we doing with our lives?
Talk about like a tight space in the camper. You get into an argument and it's
you have nowhere to go but for a walk, and it's pissing rain.
And we want to share that stuff too, right? We want people to be able to relate. Like, we're not living some life that is so far beyond other people and it's like picture perfect, because it's not.
There's been a lot of work and a lot of different steps along the way that we were fortunate to make the right choice at the right time that's led us here. And
and we've gone on a bit of a healing path this year, and
absolutely.
And one thing that I've always struggled with is really worrying about what other people think and comparing myself to other people and where they are in life or what they have in life, or the job they have and the position they have in their career. It's really been a mental kind of struggle for me, and I don't, talk about it to a lot of people, my really close friends and my wife. But just kind of realizing, like, everybody's path is different and everybody has a different circumstances. And I'm sure people look at my life and might think the same thing. But I think just having the conversation and being open with people about those things can help people kind of get over humps, or, maybe have the realization that, like, they may not have what this person have, but they might have something else that they don't have, that person doesn't have, if that makes sense.
And I think it's super valuable to learn about people, like, in different ways, and doing this is actually a big step in, like, saying, like, I don't care what people think, because this is real, this is us, this is how we operate, this is the things that have happened. And I mean, people can relate and they can choose, like, not to also, and just, it might not be for them, but you might as well put it out there, and you might help one person and relate to one person that is like, wow, that's something that opens my eyes to different options.
I'd say that, like, 95% or probably more of us consume content. I consume content every day, more than I probably should. A lot of it is really good though. Like, I get a lot of good stuff out of content. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of doom scrolling that happens with myself too, and I think that people can leverage content and learn, like, a lot of things I've learned in the construction side of things, like, was honestly YouTube. Even though I worked in construction, but there's something I had never done, I would YouTube it and do it on my own home and, like, learn. And that's a great way to learn these days. I think we have a very good advantage as humans in this era we live in.
There's so much information out there and available to everyone, so we might as well add ours to it. And
podcasts are major, right? It's huge. I've learned a lot of stuff through podcasts and listening to podcasts, and if we can give that to somebody else or inspire somebody else to take a leap and do it and try this, like, I think that's really cool.
So I guess to kind of summarize, we're in Tofino until March, potentially right now, January 1st, 2025.
Yeah, we got here November 8th.
Yeah,
It's been rainy. We've had some really great sunny days.
yeah,
Been surfing a bunch. I'm currently working for a local business in town. It's just 3 days a week. It's not a high-paying job, but the people are great, and it's something.
to cover costs and like our expenses out here.
Like we mentioned, we're currently kind of going through a regeneration stage of our life, I guess, really figuring out what do we want to do for a living, and just figuring out how to tie our current skills into real estate's kind of the thing that I'm going to focus on.
Yeah.
Amy will be a big part of that, but she has her own sort of aspirations and desires and
definitely
and things. So we want to learn to support each other as a team as well as independently.
Absolutely.
And try new things. So
yeah, so we're still in the midst of figuring all of that out, and yeah, seeing where it takes us, because everything does not happen exactly as you plan it or quickly sometimes, and it just, I don't know, for me especially, talking about our kind of healing year, like this winter is a time for us to slow down and really kind of delve deep into what it is that fuels us and how we want to, spend the upcoming year moving forward. And yeah,
and I like shining light on things that are important. Like for most of my adult life, I've been very money thinking consumed, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
I would hold money at kind of the top priority out of everything in my life, I guess. For this last year, especially 2024, we were fortunate enough to do a lot of travel, and I'm really kind of seeing the value and the importance in relationships with friends and family, and that's wealth in itself.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong, I still want to go after money and build wealth that way, but I don't want to miss the important stuff in between, and get, I guess, lost in only,
the chase,
in only
yeah.
the dollar, right?
Yeah.
Like it's we just had some friends come visit us, which was really special, and those things are, as you get older, like I'm 36 now, as you get older you really kind of realize like those are the things that really matter, and then like put time into people that put time into you.
absolutely.
And you're gonna have you can be in like a really tough spot, and if you have people you can call on, I don't think it gets any better than that. Everything else is just like icing on the cake.
Yeah,
right?
that's the ultimate return, is those connections that you form with people. And I think a challenge, or something that we wanted coming out here, was also building different community. Sometimes when you're, in an area where we moved where Chase grew up, and it can just be the same thing, and people don't move forward, and so it's hard. But when you step outside of it, you realize how grateful you are for all of that built you, essentially. Yeah.
And we all live very busy lives today.
Yeah.
It's that's no lie, right? I mean, I think we all have people in our lives that have done very well in their careers, and that's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
For your friend and for yourself, if you are that person that has done that, or maybe you built a business for yourself, and we have friends that have kids plus a business, and all these other things that we all have, right?
Yeah.
They're going to the gym, they're focusing on their health and their marriage or their relationship, and it's like, and they're still making time for their friends, and it might not be as often as we would all like, but it's very cool to see that, and to try to balance that out. And I know I could do better reaching out to friends, and I think when you have a lot of friends, it's tough, but just focus on the people that really fit into your life at the time, and you never have to forget about people.
No,
that's for sure.
There's always opportunities, to connect with new people as well, which is something I've had a hard time learning, because I'm very independent, and even being here, it's like I stick to my daily routine. Me and our dog go for walks every day. I'm very almost sheltered, so I'm trying to make sure that I open up and reach out to other people that could be great friends. So
Yeah.
it's been cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't miss those connections. And
Yeah.
no, yeah, this whole year is about, I think for us, is growth and kind of exploring where we could go and stepping out of fear, or kind of
Absolutely, that's
facing
a huge
our,
one.
facing our fears, I guess. And
Yeah.
I think it's easy to let fears hold you back from stuff. And maybe it's a trip you want to go on. Maybe you want to leave your job and try something different, but you're terrified of what people think, or
Yeah.
that's all real stuff for a lot
Very
of people.
real.
Maybe
Yeah.
not for everybody, but I
Yeah.
know it's real for me.
Yeah.
Amy feels some of those things, and
Oh yeah.
it's
It's not easy to step outside the box.
yeah, and that's what we want to share. We want to share, like, hey, we're doing this. We're terrified. This isn't like no big deal
we
for
haven't
us.
perfected
Like,
anything. Yeah.
I have moments where I'm like, what the fuck what did I do that for? Like, was that a good idea?
Yeah. Why did I sign up
And
for this? Yeah.
I think it's really easy for myself. I can't speak for anybody else, but I can get in my own head and be like spinning my gears and just being like regretting a decision that I did or made, but it's like, you make a decision, that's the decision you made. How can you just continue making that decision positive, or find
Learning
the
from
positive
it.
spin
Yeah.
in it?
Yeah.
You can find the negatives in it too, and there's going to be a negative thought process attached to any decision
Yeah.
if you decide to go that
Yeah.
way, I guess.
Yeah. There's
That's
a lot of things that you can control outside of it, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like, instead of dwelling on it, move forward and figure out what you can do better the next time, essentially.
Yeah, and if anybody, is listening to this, or there's things you want to know more about Amy and I, like more about our first home or how we met, and like any of those things, we would love to share that. We're just trying to avoid, I guess, rambling on and
forever and ever.
Yeah, we're gonna start podcasting about things that are probably more current for us.
Yeah, and more specific in each different episode. However, that plays out.
I'd like to talk more about the master real estate class that I'm doing, and what kind of my goals are with Amy as well as myself.
Yeah.
And then if anybody wants to know more about that, love to talk about that. We'll probably start trying to get friends on here and just interesting people that...
Yeah, stuff that we want to learn about for sure, and it will evolve as we evolve, which is really cool. That's kind of what we talked about when we said, like, let's just do it. Let's just create the first video and go from there, because it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a start. So. And
we're not picking a specific niche. It's the Amy and Chase podcast of what we so we're gonna talk about careers or entrepreneurship, I guess, and just making money, like what should be like real estate, and teaching things, and those kind of things, as well as like activities, travel, culture, food, friends, maybe like friends in our circle that we think have a really interesting story. We'll bring on and talk to them.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be really fun. And if it doesn't really go anywhere, at least we're going to have this stuff to
look back on. It's almost, and I like, one of my goals definitely for the year is to journal more. And it's like, this already feels like a huge way to just talk and release things, and we do this every day anyways with each other. Like, we sit here at this table chatting over coffee, like, what about this, and it's like, it's just, I'd rather it just be as authentic as possible, and I think it will benefit us as much as if it doesn't benefit anyone else.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, I'm fucking terrified right now. I don't love being on camera. It may seem that way, but I always like rewatch a video and like
can't stand the sound or the look of yourself.
And I think a lot of people do that. Like, I don't like the way I look here, and this, I don't know, it might sound funny to some people, but I have a problem with that, maybe. So this is the way to, like,
the first
fuck all that.
Yeah.
Your friends know what you look like. Your family knows what you look like.
Yeah.
Your best and your worst. So just be real.
The lighting's not perfect in every day, so it's just what it is. Yeah.
So we're gonna have fun with it.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys do too, or anybody watching.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to share the journey and everything else.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in if you made it this far.
And please leave comments. We're happy to hear what you guys like to listen to or don't like to listen to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I guess we'll leave it at that. All right.
Sounds good.
Happy New Year.